Tom McCullagh, thanks for joining us on the Illinois Channel. We're doing campaign interviews, and you were looking to run for the Illinois State Senate. What district are you focusing on?
Illinois District 49. It's for the state Senate, like the Plainfield, Shorewood, Oswego, Romeoville area, and a sliver of Joliet. It's one of those really heavily gerrymandered areas.
Aren't they all?
Yeah, I say if you live in Illinois, you're pretty much in a gerrymandered area, so the way things work.
How is that district now with the new map? Have you had a chance to look at the new map? I mean, is it electable for a Republican candidate?
So it's been competitive since they created it back in 2012. It's 52-48 Democrat, but even the +2 is because we haven't had too many people to run against Natalie Manley. So now that we're engaging on that side of the district, it's definitely a toss-up race. And in 2020, when I ran before, it was a Tier 1 race. So meaning it was a very winnable seat. Just $8 million is a lot of money coming into that area. It was kind of hard to fight against.
Right. Why are you running? What do you think that you would bring to the voters, to the district that isn't there now?
Well, we live in a constitutional republic where we're elected to represent everybody equally, and we live in Illinois where the lobbyists are really the ones controlling the votes and how all the money goes to. I want to go in and actually represent the people, represent the Constitution, give an equal and fair vote in any issue that we have, and have fair, accurate, and steadfast representation, to where we have a lot of senators now that say they're Republicans, and they're really not. They don't stand.
You don't
for
have
anything.
too many Republican senators.
Yeah, there's only 17 of them, which is kind of showing how the lack of leadership under Bill Brady's hurt us for such a long time. And now we have Dan McCullagh as a Senate Minority Leader, and he's really done a tremendous job so far putting out the good fight. So I want to get in there and help him the best I can.
A lot of people, I'm sure, probably because you haven't held office, don't really know your background. Why don't you share a little bit of what your background is and how you're qualified for office?
So I enlisted in the Navy as a nuclear physicist. I ended up breaking my back, and I wasn't able to go into it. Long story short, I became a regional manager, had over 5,000 employees, $100 million in sales. That was my day-to-day job for a little over 8 years. When Trump won office, I ended up quitting my job and started my own company, and did that for 4 years, multi-million-dollar in
What
sales.
kind of a business are you in?
Contracting. So I went from corporate management, wearing a suit and tie every day, to swinging a hammer, and it's because I love working. Even as a regional manager, I would go in and I would do dishes, I would do whatever I needed to do to make sure that my restaurants were operating the right way, and to show the people that were there, like, you can start off as a dishwasher, but you can definitely end up in upper management, and through hard work and dedication and doing the job, you can get wherever you want to in life. And I grew up in a poor family, 4 kids in a 1-bedroom. I'm one of the first people in my family to even buy a house. And it's showing that we're living the American dream, and it's not so much through privilege or whatever. It's through hard work, dedication, and 100-hour work weeks to get where you want to go. And all my family and friends are in Illinois, and I don't want to abandon the state, nor do I want to be known as a generation that loses our republic, which is why I'm working so hard to get elected and help anybody else who's running for office. There's a lot of really good candidates out there. We all need to work together and present a unified front.
Among the issues that people are talking about, one is the teaching of critical race theory in the schools. One is a newly passed sex education,
right,
starting in even kindergarten. Some is crime. As you, and certainly the taxation. Everyone's complaining about taxation, both on, especially I would say on property taxes.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that across the state, and we have for years.
Right.
What issues, are you most personally energized on? And second, when you talk to the voters, is one issue more on the people's mind than others?
When you're talking to the voters, the critical race theory is definitely first and foremost. You know, kids are kids. Let them be kids. You know, don't teach them that white people are bad or black people are bad. Don't teach them any of those things. Let them experience life as their own. If we don't teach those kids that, they won't know that. They won't know to judge or prejudice other people. And we don't need to teach kindergartners about sexual acts, and a lot of things that are even inside that bill we can't talk about right now because you would get taken off your platform. If it's too bad to be on TV and it's too bad to be on YouTube without being censored or having the videos taken down, why are we teaching 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds these things? So we shouldn't be doing any of that. Let kids be kids, and then go to Robert Morris Center when you're in high school like we all did growing up. You know, let those things happen. My number one issue is accountability. I don't care if it's a Republican or a Democrat. It's when you're elected to office, let's be held accountable for the work that we do. Let's make sure that our taxes, let's make sure that our bills that we're proposing are constitutional. They're in the best favor of the citizens, not the big corporations. When we're running the state, we're putting money, say you brought up the taxation for schools and you brought up the taxation issues. The Democrats are running on that we have a revenue problem. And if we didn't have a revenue problem, if they didn't mismanage the budget for the last 40 years, now that Mike Madigan's gone, you've got 800 different factions in the Democrat Party, and nobody knows how to put out the fire that Madigan started. And our kids are going to be left on the hook for all that cash. So let's see what happens, and let's just make sure that we're accountable. We pay our debt to our pensioners, but in the meantime, don't let us continue to be inside the same financial hardships that we've been in for the last 40 years. We can get out of this if we all work together. If you Google me, you can see about 400 or 500 news articles. I've been on CNN, OAN, Newsmax, Fox News, all the local stations. There was some fun stuff going on. I was the first candidate to do the police rallies in Illinois when the Illinois GOP and Tim Schneider said, oh, we won't support you in that because we don't want the bad numbers. And I said, it's always a good time to support cops, and we had tens of thousands come out to all of our rallies. And we really unified behind that, making sure that our citizens were safe, as any elected official's first responsibility is to the safety of their constituents. And we wanted to prove that message that it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, they cared if their kids were safe and their houses were safe. And we proved that message, and now everybody's on board with that.
Well, Tom McCullagh, we thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.